Hi, everybody. I'm Deb Beroset. I am the founder of Moxie Creative and Consulting. I am the joie de vivre sage and a brand stylist. Yes, all those things. I am also the sister of the guest of honor today of Conversations with Moxie. This is the one and only, wait, I'm pointing, wait, oh no, this way.
This way, the other way. Yeah.
Oh, God. There we are. This guy is my brother. I have two amazing brothers. One is Ed and this one is David. And David is a guest here today, not just because he's my brother, although that's very awesome and cool, but because of his expertise.
Awesome.
Yeah. So Dave,
thank you for having me.
It's so great. This is so fun to do this together.
People have been pushing me to do something like this for a while, and now I'm decided to do it.
Some people have. What are big sisters for, right? So I'm going to say a few things about you. So bear with me. I know it's painful sometimes, but bear with me. So let me tell you a little bit about what David does. He has a company called Spiritos. His website is spiritostraining.com. And David is an expert awareness trainer. And his work involves a combination of contemporary coaching and ancient wisdom. And the way he does it is so unique, so powerful, that it's really, when I finally got, Dave, what you do, and the only way I actually got it was to experience it as a client, right? I was really blown away because I just wasn't quite clear what your work as an awareness trainer was. And so now I like to say that, you know, not only are you my brother, you are one of my spiritual guides in this life.
Aww.
And I just, apart from our sibling relationship, I just have so much love and respect for you and what you bring and what you provide for your clients. I know you work with a lot of creative people and business people, and I so get it. You're one of Moxie's secret weapons. You're in my back pocket, right? So I would like you to share with us a little, Dave, about what's an easy way to get our minds around what awareness training is.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you. And back at you. I love the work that you do in the world. So
Thanks.
Yeah, it's good. So awareness training at its most basic level is beginning to bring up to consciousness those automatic patterned ways of being that we have had our whole lives. You know, the things that we do to get by in the world. They're not bad. And bring that whole set of patterns up to the consciousness and begin to look at it like a little objectively, almost like a scientist studying something. And in the studying, in that sort of space between you and the pattern, you begin to have a little bit more freedom. You don't get lost to the pattern. I used to say, now most people that know me would say I'm nice, I'm friendly. Yeah, I'm nice. And I used to be nice like a pair of handcuffs, like I couldn't be any other way. Even when some other way might have been better, might have been more aligned with who I am, you know?
Sure.
So that's awareness training. And then the second part of awareness training is beginning to tune in each person into their own listening, the listening of their heart. You can, whatever it is that intuition, the listening, the listening to the deeper alignment with who you are. And I don't know. So that's the thing. I can't identify that for someone else, but I can have them stop and be quiet and listen, and then they'll hear their own voice.
Right.
That's
Of course, you make that sound so easy and like anybody can do that, right? Okay, but anyway,
it's available to anyone.
It's available to anyone. So the topic, the thing that we're going to play with here in this conversation is what it is. And by the way, people watching, on this app, I am not able to see that who is watching unless you, I think if you type a comment in, I can see that. So if somebody could just say hi, then I'll know if that's working. And so feel free to say hi, ask questions as we go, all of that. Absolutely. So anyway, the topic here, what we're playing with is, here we are, 2020, need we say more, right? And a lot of us are feeling very much in survival, or that we could be dipping down into survival at any minute, or at least that's our experience of it. And so what we're here to talk about today is how, in the midst of everything, both societally, personally, and in between, how do you access your creativity in the middle of that? And talk a little bit about, actually, you and I were talking for a minute before we started, and you were talking about how this is the right time to be having this conversation. Oh, yeah. Satish is here. Okay, the comments are working. Tamara's here. Melanie's here. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, cool. So why is this the right time to be having this conversation?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Of course, there are times where you just need to do the survival thing, right? To do the thing where the lizard brain kicks in and you get the adrenaline rush and you survive. And what I think a lot of people are finding is that that's useful, and that doesn't, the first thing that goes out the window is any kind of creative thought, any kind of creative problem solving. So if your problem is that you're running from a saber-toothed tiger, evolutionarily speaking, excellent choice. Adrenaline, run, don't worry about creativity, just freaking run.
I'm out of here.
Exactly. And we as human beings are kind of almost too well designed. So we have to actually begin to pay attention to what's triggering that response over and over and over and over again. And that keeps us out of creativity because we're surviving. And not everything is a knife fight in a dark alley, right? If it is a knife fight, then do your worst. Go for it. Do what you got to do.
Right.
But so many things, including, like you said, in these times, businesses and people, they've got to come up with creative solutions. And that's what I've seen with my business clients, is the ones that are thriving are the ones that are really sitting back and saying, okay, yes, this is bad. We all agree. And what can we do to recreate? And that it actually takes, the first thing that needs to happen is the mindset needs to shift. And we have to kind of get out of that fight or flight amygdala hijack that happens. And you've worked with that with your work.
Right.
And so the reason I said that now is a good time for many people, obviously everyone's got a different situation, but this thing has gone on for a while, and the immediate survival things that you need to do, hopefully, are handled, or mostly handled for now. And at this point, we need to take a look at, and it's helpful to take a look at, well, what are we going to create? And this is not, it's not kind of airy-fairy optimism, the sun will come out tomorrow. It really isn't.
Right.
It's actually a practical response when things are unclear, unsure, and we really have to pay attention to our direction, where we're going. So it's a very practical solution, and there are some ways that you can kind of drop into that. You can play with your own human psyche a little bit,
yeah,
so that you can drop into that and get to that creativity.
Yeah. It's going to be a little shock to some people's system to even hear that, yes, some real people with real businesses are actually thriving, that
Yes,
that is actually possible, right?
absolutely. And working with, for instance, a commercial landlord. Now, I've been working with them since, all of this started. And it really was all out. We got to figure this out. We got to learn. We have to, so much happening, lots and lots happening.
Because all these businesses weren't able to pay their rent necessarily.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I mean, they were shut down. And many of them, restaurants. So they were,
Wow.
they were zero income.
Yeah.
And of course, the people I work who were the landlords, they have their own obligation. They have a mortgage company that's scratching their head, wondering if they're going to get their payment, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And, this is a story millions of times over across the country. And we worked a little bit and we got to, well, what do we want? Which I know sounds ridiculous. And it's, it's kind of like, well, I want to get my money. I want to not go bankrupt.
Well, let me ask you something though.
Yeah.
Because when we're in the middle of that oh shiz moment, right? I have no way of I don't even have access to what I want. So one thing I've heard you talk about is you got to smooth the feathers down and relax a little and get to a chill place, which I loved that description so much. So explain a little what that's about.
Yeah. So, and again, the heart of awareness training, everything that I do, the foundation, the bedrock is awareness training. And anybody that works with me will know I use the analogy of being like a trainer in a gym, lifting weights. And my experience has been with both my own life and with people I've worked with is that every time you see the thing that's triggering you, the thing that is the pattern, which is designed to survive you, it's not your enemy. Every time you see that for what it is, it doesn't matter. People assume, oh, well, when I get better, I'll feel zen. I won't even feel that. No, you're going to get triggered to the day you die. You just are. Sorry. It's the way we're wired.
Oh, well.
Yeah, exactly. And every time you notice it as something that is other than you build, it's like you've lifted the weight once. You build that muscle of awareness to being able to stay conscious. Now, there are times if the situation just jumps you where you're just gone, you aren't looking at yourself being mad. You're just mad. You are.
We all know that.
And we have all had that experience of just being gone to whatever, gone to fear. You were talking earlier about the kind of the lower bandwidths, the fear, anger, upset, all of that sort of lower bandwidth, which it isn't a good environment to have creativity. And so it just shuts it down. And so there's a variety of ways that you can do that awareness training. And what happens, people will come to me, and I work with some individuals and I work with businesses. But in some ways, businesses are just groups of individuals, right? So in some ways, it's still working with human beings. And so still human beings.
Most of the time, right?
And I have seen that we can look at what a particular person's mind trap is. See, we all have mind traps, and that's usually not a big mystery. Just look at the biggest complaint in your life. That's probably one of your mind traps. One of the things.
Give me an example.
Yeah. Well, let me give you an example with me. So,
here we go.
Oh yeah, there you go. See, I get real.
Okay.
So one of the things that has probably kept me from doing something like this, because I'm enjoying this. This is fun.
It is fun, right?
I hope other people are getting something out of it, but I'm enjoying it. And what would have the mind trap that would have me not do something like this would be, it's got to be perfect. It's got to be like, people have to get their lives out of this 30-minute segment. They must be transformed and transcended. Like, dude,
no pressure there.
Oh, yeah, that's my mind trap. So it's funny. I know, human beings, crazy,
you
right?
captured it so well.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I know that one pretty well at this point. And so what that does is, when you hear that, if you can, you're still going to get kind of pulled by it. I do, like I did 10 minutes ago. I did. And you can, instead of having it drive the bus, you can say, thank you for sharing. Please sit down while the bus is in motion, and it doesn't drive. We're all wreck and ruined. We're going to drive off the road because it's not perfect. Yeah. And everybody has their own version of that. And each one is unique. So when I work with someone, one of the first things that we do is we uncover those mind traps and look at them, kind of like scientists, like we study them.
Yeah.
Like an animal in the wild that's very rarely
sneaky on yourself.
Exactly.
What's happening here?
And this is where a sense of humor comes in really, really helpful, because we all have these traps. We all get stuck by them. It's ridiculous when we're not inside them, but when we're in them, if it seems like it's true. Like it has to be perfect.
It's so, oh God, it really does though, doesn't it? It's so.
You and I share that one just a little bit.
Just a little. That's why I'm leaning in. Yeah. By the way, no pressure, but mom's on, dad's on, Mark's on.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, this is really cool. This is really fun. So, all right. So since you've given us a little bit of that realness, like, the fact that you haven't been very public about your work up until very recent, right?
That's right.
So this is so perfect. And I know you're going to be willing to run with it, Dave, because I know you a little bit. So I want you to walk us through, like, how did you tap into your creativity around this? Like, how does that shift happen? How can we all make that shift happen?
Yeah, good. Yeah, that is at the heart of it, isn't it? So you will, because you'll have these things and they will trigger you to the day you die. They just will. It's not good nor bad. It's just how it is. And so you can have some, and at some point, I decided I wanted to play a bigger game, talk to more people, influence, and just help and make a difference with more people. And in order to get that, I had to give up this other game of it's got to be perfect and it's got to, every time. Yeah. I just had to give it up in order to get this bigger thing.
And say the bigger thing again so we can get how beautiful and shiny, and no wonder he gave up that other thing for this, right?
Exactly. So the bigger thing is to be out there in the world teaching awareness training and having people get beyond the thing that stops them in order to really have their dream. To have, there's I think a piece in everyone, if they listen for it, that is where the soul just says, yes, this is it. And it may look different on the outside, but like there's a flavor to it and there's an energy to it that when you touch it, it resonates with you. And no one on the outside can tell you what that is. If there are some people who come to me and they want solutions to their problems and they're looking to me to provide them. My solution for your life would just be that. It would be my solution and not yours. And so.
And yet you're not just some guy in a diner either.
No. No, I'm not. Well,
So,
and so it's really it's like a discovery process.
right. Because I'm an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur. By the way, David and I have weekly meetings. This is so cool. We started doing these weekly meetings where
With an awesome name.
Oh my God. Where we support each other in our entrepreneurialism, right? And all the head things it takes and the heart things it takes. And for a while we were just having business meetings, and they were okay, but they were they were just okay, right? They were useful. But then something shifted in this quarter. We created this whole thing, and I think it's here's what I think it is, David. It's exactly what you just said, where you and I both got present to the why. Why am I lit up by what I do? Why are you lit up? Like, what is it that actually is the bigger purpose and game here? And all of a sudden, boo, and we came up with I will give you credit. You came up with this name, the Laboratory of Creativity and Applied Genius. I mean,
I'm just arrogant enough to own that title. I love it.
How could that not be fun? So I look at my calendar and I see, oh, it's the hour for the Laboratory of Applied Creativity and Genius. That sounds fun. And so it's, what's my point, Dave?
Well, the thing that you're pointing to in my world is once you get out of survival, when you stop playing survival, and of course, you got to survive. So that's a given. But for most human beings, for a lot of people, certainly the people I work with, survival is it's the game for 5-year-olds. Like, they have it handled. They have it so handled. I'm not saying life's perfect, but they got it handled. Yeah. But what you pointed to with what we created, and we had fun doing it, is actually turning it into a game. It doesn't mean we don't take it seriously. And it doesn't mean it doesn't have real world impact on us and others.
I've actually found I take it more seriously, way more seriously, because it's a game and there's going to be a prize.
You are all about those prizes. That's a whole different conversation. It's going to be awesome.
I know.
Yeah.
So, so that's pretty cool. All right. So here's a question. Can you give me an example of, like, let's say, well, you work with business people. What's an example of how awareness training was brought to bear on the business puzzle, right? Yeah. And they tapped into some new vein of creativity that made a difference.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think these folks would mind a shout out, because they've shouted me out. Sho Collective up there in Nashville.
Oh, Tony, I'm also getting asked, what's the prize? We'll get back to that.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get back to that. We got a cool prize, because you got to have a good prize. But Sho Collective, now they've been up and running for about, I guess, 4 years. And I was in there at the beginning. And
what is Sho Collective? What is it?
Yeah, I guess you should know that. So it's Sho. It's actually Sho Collective and Wellness and Well House. Excuse me.
Okay.
And what it is it's half a salon, high-end salon, and for hair and things like that, and estheticians, and also does some body work like massage, and there's some kinesiology and some other stuff that kind of, helps you shift your body. So
where are they located? Just out of curiosity.
They're in Nashville, Tennessee. Highly recommended. They're amazing.
Wow.
And, we started with a blank sheet of paper. They had an idea and a dream, and then we began a process of creating what it would look like. You walk in on a day where Sho it's just arrived. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Who talks to you?
Oh, the experience.
Yeah, very experiential, because here's the thing. We can get very intellectual about this and very in our heads about this. And, I love a good spreadsheet. You know me, I got some analysis going.
You're Beroset.
And exactly.
Shout out to Dad.
I arrived by that, honestly.
That's right.
And So I love a good spreadsheet and a good analysis and structures, but that's kind of second. The first thing is, if you're going to put your heart and your soul and your resources and risk everything to start a business, it had damn well better be something that then gives you your life in return. Like, it's got to be aligned with something more than making money.
Amen.
It just does.
Yeah.
And they did that, and they did that brilliantly. And that's every aspect, from how they wanted to, what they wanted to do with their clients, and how they wanted to work with their people and grow them. Like, it's a really cool culture, and it has changed and adapted over times. And certainly now, once again, they're needing to, adapt a lot. Yeah. Yeah. And so, but what they've done is they've created a, I hesitate to call it a mission statement, because when people think of mission or vision statements, they think of the thing that the corporate C-level people went on a nice retreat and they came up with a thing, and then they framed it, and it's in gathering dust in the conference room. But this kind of a statement or a sense of vision, it actually works as a compass. So when you have a decision to make, you say, okay, this is who we say we are. How does it line up? More recently, one of the things, when I was talking earlier about the landlord, they had some hard decisions to make. Like, how do we do this? And they went back to, well, who are we? Who are we as landlords now? I think
what does that mean? Who are we as landlords?
Yeah. So, like,
because that's not a typical question.
That is not a typical question, certainly for a commercial landlord.
No.
Pay the rent is more common in that way. And they looked at, who do we want to be like a contribution to our community? And we want to make money. Absolutely. We want to invest well. So we're not going full kumbaya and not worrying about the spreadsheet or the balance sheet. No. But it worked out. So what that, certainly the first thing with these would be that we needed to learn a lot more. And we did. I did more Zoom calls than I will ever want to do again, probably. I know a lot of people feel that way about Zoom calls.
Yeah.
And then we reached out to to the tenants and had a conversation with them, and started by getting, like, what are they dealing with? Because it's different. And I would say, not only do we actually have this particular client has a stronger relationship with their tenants than at the beginning of this. Like, we are a team, all of us.
Wow.
And, like, financially have come out way far ahead of the more typical mainstream commercial landlord, which was sending demand letters, on the second of the month for the rent that was due on the first. Because there were a lot of landlords that did that, and you can appreciate it because it's coming from fear. We cannot survive without this rent. That's how it works.
Yeah.
But really looking at a more creative solution. And I think that's true of business, certainly, because, this is an opportunity, and those that will do well are the ones who are able to reinvent themselves. Like,
that's absolutely right. What you're saying about the going to the tenants, this commercial real estate company, going as the landlord, going to tenants and saying, what are you dealing with? See, people who work with me with the Moxie soul care programs, a huge tenet of those programs we deal with, as you know from our conversations, above the line and below the line energy, right? Yeah. So what you just described as sending out the letter on the second because that rent was due on the first and it's coming from fear, that's taking actions from that below the line place.
That's right.
Versus your client, right, going and saying, hey, let's talk. What are you dealing with? Let's work together. Let's work something. It's above the line energy. And that just so underscores for me the fact that you cannot really be creative below the line. Unless you manage to get above the line with where you're coming from, you're stuck in something else.
Right. And the interesting thing about that particular example is the assumption often is that if you're the kind-hearted landlord, you're going to be last in line. You're not going to get.
Yes. Like, I can't afford to be nice. I can't afford to be understanding.
Exactly. That would be the assumption. And I think a lot of people would think that. A lot of people in the business thought that.
Yeah.
And we found that quite the opposite. My client's financial outcome. Now, it's obviously not over. Still in 2020, we're still working on it, and we're still in communication with each tenant individually. But the outcome in dollars and cents, hard analytical left hand, bottom right hand number is better. So those creative solutions are not just soft-hearted. They're actually aligned with something, because I had several conversations with some people who were just completely panicked. Like they were going to lose everything.
Yeah.
Some of them are still on the edge of losing everything. And I know that story is, across the board, not just with commercial tenants, but, with people.
Yeah. There's a lot of people dealing with some very tough stuff.
Absolutely. And if you're able to shift into a place of, like you said, above the line, and not be run so hard by those fear patterns, you have access to a creativity for a different solution. It's effective, and what I have seen is that over time, those businesses that work at being aligned with who they say they are over time do better. In good times and bad. They just thrive and do better financially because, people.
We sense it, right? As customers, as clients, exactly. Those are the kinds of businesses I want to give my money to and work with and have their services.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's very cool. But you don't only work with businesses, obviously, right? You work with individuals as well. And I did want to mention also, because I think this is kind of unusual, this thing that you offer is a single session experience, right?
Yes.
The Spiritos Quest, right?
Yes.
Can you so I want to say, how long does it take? How long is the appointment?
It's about 2 hours.
About 2 hours, yeah. So I would like to just put out there that it is an amazing energy shifting, life moving, freeing up kind of experience that's really tough to describe. But I just wanted to mention it because it's a way that people can work with you, that they can, you can get to know each other, but it's also this really powerful self-contained experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure a lot of people are going, what exactly is this?
And
it is challenging. It's challenging to describe. And it is an exercise and where an intention is created. An intention is almost like what I was saying with when they started the business. They had this idea of what it would look like when they got there.
Yeah.
Like when they had arrived.
Yeah.
We create, and it's a collaborative experience, we create a statement of intent that's amazing. It's like, that it's right and it lands when the person I'm working with will say, oh my God, yes, I want that. Like, it's like the best ice cream sundae with sprinkles and it just speaks to you. Yeah, it speaks to you. It's it's a statement of what it will be like. It's not about things as it is about like a state of how you will be.
Yeah.
And then from there, we do a process, and I actually learned this process, probably a decade or more ago now. It's a reunion process, which is a kind of a cousin of kinesiology. And we work through the story of the thing that's in the way of this amazing intention. And that makes zero sense until you do it. And then you go, oh yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
So I would say anybody who's interested
for jazz. That's
yeah. I would say have them have a conversation with me. Give me a call and we can talk about it. Because it is an experiential exercise, and it feels like it impacts under the mind in a way. It kind of
it definitely does. It feels like, yes, it does.
Yeah. And I was back in the day, 20 years ago, when I had my sessions like this, I was the original skeptic. Like, what, you do it? You're not supposed to do something for me? And time after time, what I was noticing is that it seemed to have an impact, and it's amazing. And so I learned how to do it, and I use it. It's like, I know, Deb, that you have a lot of tools in your tool belt, right? So you can be working with someone and say, this is exactly the tool that's called for. And you have trainings and exercises and things that you can do to shift a particular piece.
Right.
And the Spiritos Quest is a really handy set of vice grips. It just moves stuff.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So there's a couple things that I need to fit in. So first of all, Melanie shared "good enough for government work." Best phrase my friend ever taught me. I think that's brilliant. That references back to when we were talking about, let's get over this weird perfection thing that we all seem to have. And then Satish, she said, we need to meet your mom on Moxie, so we'll have to arrange that.
Oh, that would be fun.
That would be fun. And Satish also said, what is the prize? Right? So tell him what the prize is for the Laboratory of Creativity and Applied Genius that we are participating in. Like, if we do all the do's, meet all the fun measures, what do we get, Vanna?
One of the things, now, I'm not gonna reveal everything. This has been a slow reveal because I know my sister well, and she likes. And wait, there's more, like the Ginsu knife commercial. So this is not a complete and entire list of prizes. However, one of the things that we're going to have is we're going to get and we've talked about it, and I'm designing it now. A handmade computer stand that holds it at the right angle, and you can raise it and turn it into like a mini desktop lectern. And I don't want to make promises, but there will probably be a logo on it. I think.
My heart, I can't take it.
Yeah, you can't waste that beautiful logo. You got a gorgeous logo.
I do.
So I recently got a bunch of tools and things for my father to do woodworking, and so I'm going to. You
got the tools, man.
I do.
You got the tools for all the things.
Exactly, and I think I'll make one for myself too because it sounds kind of cool.
I heard that coming. You get a prize for meeting all your.
Heck yeah, I get a prize. I'm playing the game.
Yeah, totally. And then I also wanted to share with everybody that you have a prize for them.
Yes. So if
mom wants one too. See, that's the danger of saying this. Right.
Now I'm gonna have to start mass producing them.
Yeah, a side gig. That's fine. You got time. So
so if you come,
so the prize for the peoples, right? The
prize for the peoples.
So
if
somebody says, "Oh, that David, he's the coolest thing ever," I think I want to chat with him.
Why would you not say that?
Why would you not? If you're interested in sampling some awareness training,
yes,
contact him and tell him Moxie sent you.
Yes.
And if you tell him Moxie sent you in the next 2 weeks, you're going to get, are you ready? 20% off his usual fees.
This is true.
You know, now this is not like a fire sale. This is more to be thought of as a friends and family courtesy discount.
Absolutely.
Like
Absolutely. Any friend of Deb's.
There you go. So, you know, reach out. And how can they reach out to you?
But as with all good games, it has rules.
Oh, rules.
One of the rules is you have to reach out and say, Moxie sent me, email's fine, by August 15th. That's the rules.
Okay.
So you can't have
you don't have to schedule your session with him by August 15th.
No. Just need to reach out. Just
reach out and touch someone, namely him.
That's right.
Okay. And how do they do that, Dave?
And easiest thing to do is just go to my website, www.spiritostraining.com, and my email's on there. My phone number's on there. Usually best thing to do is to text and we set up a time. I do that often, or just email me and we set up a time. Usually I have found the best way to start is just to simply start with a chat, you know, just a free, let's talk 15, 20 minutes. And at that point, it's a pretty good, both people will kind of know, is this a good fit or not?
Yeah.
And it's a fun conversation.
Really?
And then we go from there, basically creating what's next.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Great. There was something else I wanted to ask you, and I'm trying to think what it was, but it was really important and fascinating. Melanie. Melanie is the best. She just put your website URL up for the SpiritosTraining.com. Melanie, you are the
Melanie.
You were the best. Well, Dave, this has been
it has been fun.
See, this didn't hurt a bit, right?
No. I'm thinking maybe we do a sequel, you know?
Yeah. Oh, you know? Listen to you.
I know. Yeah. Conversation with Moxie, part 2.
Let's do part 2, Let's do it, bro. I love that.
Right. It's fun.
Yeah. Oh, I know. The other thing I was going to say is that, you know, the Berosets, like, we could basically get businesses all zhuzhed up and going crazy. Like,
yeah,
you know, you work with the business owners on the stuff that we've been talking about. Yeah. Part of my deal is I'm a brand stylist. So, you know, I can help you by getting to your essence and then creating this gorgeous online digital home for you to live in.
And I will say, you did that for me last year. And that was so helpful. Oh my God. I was stuck, you know, I can help other people all day, but I was just stuck as far as.
Isn't that the way, right?
Exactly. And you did a fabulous job walking me through that. Yeah. So.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. My honor. It was really fun, as is and was this. Anybody have any questions before we close? Because I know we got people who have hung in with us, Dave, and are.
Thank you, everybody.
Conversation. Yeah, see, Dave, you got this down. We should take this show on the road. You're in Atlanta. I'm in Chicago. We're not going on any roads right now, but virtually anything's possible.
You know, one of my criteria for any business that I want to be in is that I'm going to have fun, and I could see that. So
are we related?
I don't know.
I think we're maybe related.
Who knows? Could be the fourth quarter game for the laboratory of creativity and applied genius.
Oh, look at all the sparks flying right now. Okay, this is
a bigger prize.
Yeah. Oh, a bigger prize. Oh my God. Okay, this is getting better and better. Everybody, thank you so much for being on here and with us.
Thank you.
I could feel you out there, you know, rooting for us and part of the conversation. This was really wonderful. Dave, I love you.
Love you too.
Best. And we'll talk soon. Bye, everybody.
Okay. Bye, everybody.